They told me Christmas was canceled for me. I spent it on a rooftop in Tokyo. My father's side of the family conducts exclusion the way certain institutions conduct policy, without malice, without negotiation, and with a bureaucratic confidence that the decision is both reasonable and final. When my Aunt Philippa decided, following a disagreement, I will summarize as me refusing to apologize for something I had not done, that I was no longer welcome at the annual Christmas gathering. It was communicated to me not by Philippa directly, but through my cousin Bryn, who delivered the news with the apologetic efficiency of someone who had not chosen the assignment. I had been the event's primary organizer for 7 years. The venue research, the gift coordination, the dietary spreadsheet that had grown annually as the family's restrictions multiplied. Nobody had considered when voting to exclude me that these functions would require a replacement. I did not volunteer one. I confirmed receipt of the information, thanked Bryn for telling me, and opened a browser tab. I had never been to Japan. I had wanted to go for years in the vague, postponed way of things that keep getting deferred in favor of obligations that feel more immediate. The flights were expensive and the timing was inconvenient, and I booked them within 40 minutes of hanging up with Bryn before the window of rationality could close around the decision and make it feel complicated. I said nothing to the family. No announcement, no pointed social media preview, no indication that I had made any plans whatsoever. I simply became unavailable in the way of someone who has stopped orienting their calendar around people who voted on their presence. Tokyo in late December was cold and luminous and so thoroughly absorbing that I spent the first 3 days in a state of sensory recalibration, moving through neighborhoods at a pace determined entirely by my own curiosity. I ate at counters where I pointed at things I could not name and was never once disappointed. I walked until my feet made reasonable objections and then found somewhere to sit, and watched the city conduct itself with an efficiency and a quiet that I found deeply restorative. On Christmas morning, I was on a rooftop terrace attached to a small bar in a neighborhood I had wandered into by accident the previous evening. The city spread in every direction in the early light, dense and intricate and entirely indifferent to the fact that several thousand miles away a family gathering was presumably discovering the consequences of organizing itself without the person who had always organized it. Bryn messaged me at some point in the late morning. The message was long. It covered the venue booking that had fallen through, the catering miscommunication, the gift coordination that had collapsed into an improvised and apparently contentious free-for-all, and my grandmother's sustained disappointment, expressed at volume that the occasion had been handled with what she described as shocking amateurism. Bryn ended the message by asking where I was. I sent a single photograph, the rooftop, the city, the early light doing what early light does when it hits a skyline that has been built with genuine ambition over several consecutive decades. Bryn replied with a sequence of characters that required no translation. Philippa, I was told later, asked whether someone could get me on the phone to walk them through the gift coordination system I had used for the previous 7 years. Nobody had the login. I had not thought to leave it. This had not been strategic. I simply had not thought about it at all, which in retrospect was a more complete form of departure than any deliberate withholding could have been. I spent 11 days in Japan. I returned with a specific kind of calm that I have since identified as what happens when you stop spending energy managing the feelings of people who have demonstrated they will manage yours poorly. Philippa has not raised the exclusion again. Family gatherings have resumed with my attendance and a noticeably reduced confidence on Philippa's part about her authority to set the terms of them. My grandmother greeted me at the next occasion by holding my face in both hands and telling me I had been missed, which she said without apparent awareness of the irony and which I received without pointing it out. The gift coordination system remains exclusively mine. Nobody has asked me to share the login. I have not offered.